So, our boy wakes up a few days ago and everything feels off like a laggy server. Then he sees his email. It has some rando's name in it. And the location is set to Longjiang, a city he's never heard of. Yup, it's the classic isekai special. He's been spawned into a new character's body. This world is basically Earth's cooler-looking twin. They've got insane tech, but honestly, it's just a side quest item. The main meta here is all about celestial beasts. They're everywhere, and are basically woven into the fabric of society, like living, breathing smartphones. They're used for everything from construction work to full-blown military combat. A ton of these beasts are bred to be living weapons, and a whole country's power level is judged by how OP their beast lineup is. So, yeah, to put it simply, this is a world built on beast power, period. And because everyone here worships strength, our boy realizes if he wants to survive and not get totally nerfed, he's got to start grinding XP. But to level up, you need a strategy. First thing on his list is to figure out the map, find out where the heck he is. He's now this dude named Su Ping, so all his loot is now our MC's loot. But what's the backstory on this guy anyway? He steps out of his room and immediately walks face first into a girl who goes from surprised to majorly annoyed in a split second. She's like, the king of lazy is actually awake this early, which is just wild. And our boy's thinking, is this the original owner's sister? She's kinda cute. Not gonna lie, but what's that shiny badge on her chest? He glances down and she immediately sees him looking, winding up for a hit. And wham, she unloads a haymaker right into his stomach, screaming at him to stop staring. The punch literally sends a shockwave through him. He's literally drooling from the impact, wondering where she got that insane strength stat. Then she crosses her arms all smug and explains. Turns out she's a legit master of martial animals, so she warns him he better not be thinking anything sus. Her name is Du Lingyi, a freshman at Fengshan University, and Ping is connecting the dots. She and the body's old owner had some serious beef. Like, they were not friends at all. He barely gets to his feet and asks what her deal is. I mean, come on, he's her actual older brother, but she just gives him this death glare and asks a pretty pointed question. She's like, did you forget all your greatest hits? The bug in the school bag, prank stealing lunches, gluing down toilet seats, swapping out toothpaste for mustard, hiding shoes, locking doors, and our MC is just sweating, realizing the former owner was a menace. He's just thinking what an absolute moron the last guy was. And then she says, anyway, I came here to drag you out of the house. Some customer from his pet store called her, and he needs to get over there today or he's gonna be in a world of hurt. After dropping that little bomb, she slams the door, leaving our boy standing there completely shook. His first thought was that the original owner was just some useless troll, but he never expected the guy actually owned his own pet store. All right, new quest accepted. He plugs the address into his GPS and starts the trek. Cruising through Longjiang City is a trip he's seeing people walking their celestial beasts all over the place. He finally arrives on some seriously sketchy-looking street where his store is supposed to be, and he's just looking around like, for real. Is this a business or a condemned building? He opens the gate with a fingerprint scan, thinking he'll just have to air the place out a bit. Give it a quick clean, and then he can open up shop, easy peasy. The gate rumbles open, and he gets his first look inside the pet store. An ungodly smell hits him like a truck. There's a dog in a cage just peeing onto a massive pile on the floor. This clearly wasn't its first time either. Ping yells at the beast, rolls up his sleeves, and is like, "You dare underestimate me." Just then, someone shoves him hard from behind, sending him flying inside. He whips around asking who the heck that was. The guy who pushed him just asks if he forgot his favorite customer, saying he's been camping this spot all week. Our MC is thinking, oh great, is this NPC hostile? Then the guy points an angry finger at his own battered-looking pet. He yells that he left his black wind beast here for just 3 days, and our boy's predecessor, the idiot, locked it in a cage with 10 lionesses. Does he know how vicious they can be? He says. Just look at him. Look what they did. All Ping can do is manage a super nervous smile. He immediately tries to do damage control, saying, sorry, my bad, 100%, my fault, no charge for the service. The guy gets even angrier, shouting that he doesn't care about the money, then orders his beast to go teach our MC a lesson. In a flash, the black wind goes berserk, charging forward and smashing through everything in its way like a wrecking ball. The beast instantly teleports behind him, and our MC feels a razor-sharp tail press right up against his neck, a clear warning. Feeling that our boy is officially freaking out, thinking that thing's speed is absolutely broken. Do people in this world just solve everything with a boss fight? And how on earth did the last guy manage to piss this dude off so bad? He tries to gently move the tail off his neck, while nervously asking if they could maybe just talk it out. You know, sit down like civilized people, and settle the score. So our boy hits him with the, how about you pay triple for taking this L? Like for real. Does this dude think money is some kind of undo button for wrecking his battle beast? But hold up, a galaxy brain idea just popped into his head. He gets this wicked little smirk and tells Blackwind to demo a brand new attack for their guest. Yeah, it was time to absolutely delete this fraudulent company and get his honor back in the process. He's got to remember he's got that OP White Dragon bloodline, and a massive ball of energy starts to form. It started charging up right in the beast's mouth, and seeing a light brighter than my future. Our boy Ping got seriously spooked, wondering where all this juice came from. The Blackwind's jaw unhinged, getting ready to launch this nuke, and our boy is just thinking that he literally just got isekai'd. And of all things, why'd the RNG stick him in such a weak nerfed body? He didn't even have his own starter pet. Then suddenly a spark flashed. A bolt of lightning straight up zaps our boy, and the whole world just hits the pause button, right after a system window materializes right in front of him. It flashed a message about a suitable target being found, and a contract initiating, and our boy just smiles thinking his personal cheat code had finally booted up. Now this felt like a proper reincarnation, but his face dropped when the system announced the target was the mischievous pet store itself. He was completely shook, yelling out, "How is my contract even linked to this place?" And the system just calmly responds that he's officially the new owner of the Super Pet system. And immediately after, his entire body just starts lighting up like a legendary item drop. He's like, "Yo, what is this?" And the system drops a huge info bomb saying that inside the pet store he's got God mode enabled and is immune to all damage. Basically, any attack inside these four walls would be completely useless against him, making him wonder, wait, does that mean I'm invincible here? So, the tethered object is the store itself. The system confirms it, he's looking around all sus, and then boom, time starts moving again. The client immediately orders his pet to tear our boy to shreds. The beast lunges to strike, but our MC just casually shoves its mouth closed, asking with some serious attitude, "You trying to start something in my new shop?" The beast is literally trembling, so our boy Ping just commands it to lie down, and the monster just melts to the floor, actually whimpering in terror. Our MC then turns to the owner with a perfect customer service smile, asking if he was unsatisfied with the service. The guy's jaw was on the floor. He couldn't believe our boy stopped the Black Wind with his literal bare hands. And where did this OP character even come from? The dude nervously stammers back that, "Nope, not at all. No problems here." So Ping strolls over all chill, saying since there are no issues, he'd be happy to keep boarding his pet for a couple more days. He promised he would definitely take care of it, which to the client sounded less like a promise and more like a threat from a mob boss. After that, the guy just grabbed his pet and speed ran his way right out of the store, screaming at the top of his lungs. Our MC just watches him go, completely puzzled, and thinking, am I really that scary? The system pings him that the problem in the shop was handled, and for his trouble he gets one free chance to update the pet store's status. He immediately agrees, thinking, this system is actually pretty thoughtful. And then these wild streams of energy start whipping all around him, and poof, the entire pet store gets an instant makeover. It's now sparkling clean and beautiful. He's literally checking himself out in the mirror like floor tiles. He thinks in shock. So, this is the update. This place is actually sick now. And that's when his attention gets drawn to a particular room. He walks in and sees two tiny little creatures just sleeping in their cages, which was super weird since these animals were incredibly small. The system then explains they're tamed pets, and they all get adjusted to a standard size for storage. Right now, he can hold 9 pets in this room, plus he has the ability to train them and heal them. And his first thought is, this is not epic at all. Like, aren't they gonna make a mess in all these cages? The system just tells him not to worry, his little head about it. The pets are in a cultivation stasis, which means they don't need food, or more importantly, have to poop. He's still scratching his head though, and asks, so, their owners should probably come get these two, right, to prevent another Karen situation. What's the next step? The system just hits him with a big congratulations. On launching the main storyline, the main quest is officially live. Now, he has to choose one pet and evolve it to level 3 or higher. He can pick between a lightning rat or a moondog, and he's thinking, wait, didn't the main quest literally just activate, man? This system is totally unreliable. He goes with the rat because he's not really a dog person. and a status window for the lightning rat immediately opens. Right in front of him, it's a thunder-type beast, and its special skill is listed as being cute. Yeah, it's a completely unremarkable mid-tier beast. They're mostly just kept as house pets. Ping picks the little guy up, wondering what kind of trash skill that is. Like, where's the actual thunder and lightning? The system then explains that depending on the training regimen, the beast will unlock all sorts of different skills. Since he's locked in his choice, it's time to enter the cultivation dimension, the so-called Cloud Thunder realm, and the system starts. Loading, after which a portal opens up right at his feet, sending him plunging through the floor and falling at terminal velocity. Our boy and his pet rat are screaming their heads off as they get warped, and then poof, they're in a new dimension where our MC sticks the landing, but the rat just face plants. He's totally shook, just looking around in awe and asking aloud, "Bro, are we in the cultivation server now? Because there are these massive trees everywhere, getting zapped by lightning, and glowing crystals are literally popping up from the roots." Like, he looks up at a tree the size of a skyscraper and wonders, does anyone even live in this zone? While the lightning rat has already scrambled onto his shoulder and is just trembling, completely terrified, and the system dings with a new notification. This place is the Cloud Thunder Kingdom, home to countless ancient giant beasts, and it's basically the perfect XP farm for thunder-type pets. The system says the spawn rate for monsters under 100 meters tall is high, but the chance of seeing a 1,000-meter one is low. And a 10,000-meter Godzilla is a mythic rare spawn. So he grabs the rat and says, "Dude, this map is way too scary. I mean, we're likely to see a huge monster, but we haven't yet, right?" Just then, the rat starts squealing and waving its paws like crazy. And when our boy looks up, his jaw just drops at the sight of an enormous 10-meter-tall king of beasts. The thunder pool staring down at him, he's totally frozen by the sheer size of this thing. And then it just shoots a blast of fire, straight from its mouth, instantly deleting our MC from the server, who then gets warped into a new space. He's gasping for air, just totally stunned and yelling, "What in the world was that creature? Wait, am I not dead?" The system just replies, "Nope. You got one-shotted by the King of Beasts. You're currently in the respawn lobby, and you'll be back in the game soon. But fair warning, you'll get a lower score if you fail to clear this quest." For the owner, and by the way, leaving the area is an auto-fail. Plus, if your score drops below 60 points, you get permanently deleted. Our MC is fuming, telling the system it totally forgot to mention that little detail. When he first accepted the mission, and how many points does he even have? The system just shows him a progress bar and says he has to scroll down to check out all the rewards and punishments. Plus, his score is so low he doesn't even have permission to view it, which makes him curse out loud because the system is just trolling him. So, what if that boss monster just spawn camps me? The system says don't worry, the RNG of meeting it again is actually pretty slim. It suggests he could go find some more level-appropriate mobs to kill himself, and because his perception stat is basically trash, it's recommended he make a temporary contract with the beast. After reading this, our boy forces a twitchy smile, thinking, wow, the system is in no rush to help me at all. And then bam, he's resurrected, reappearing with the rat back in the Cloud Thunder Kingdom, where he immediately forms that temporary contract with it. The system confirms it your mind, and the lightning rats have successfully synced up, and any weird feelings will fade soon. He looks around and spots some horse-like animal, thinking that doesn't look too dangerous. They could probably take it down solo, but then the rat lets out a squeak, and our boy instantly knows something is super sus. Thanks to that new temporary contract, he can literally feel his pet's fear, and right on cue, a giant worm erupts from the ground and snags the horse with its sharp teeth. It's a 10-meter beast, a giant sandworm, but this is apparently just a baby one. The rat hisses, but our MC thinks they've got a chance. Since the worm is still a small fry, he sends the rat into the boss fight, telling it to aim for the neck, while the worm is completely distracted, just enjoying its little horse snack. The rat attacks, but its claws just bounce off the thing's hard shell, making it bonk its own head, and the system immediately pings our boy, letting him know the lightning rat died from a head injury. But hey, it unlocked a new skill. Dash wanna resurrect your pet. He's sweating, realizing his rat's damage output is pretty mid, but luckily the infinite resurrections are totally broken. Who cares how much health this thing has? They can just chip away at it death by death. So, he resurrects the lightning rat, and the system confirms the remaining number of respawns is infinite. Our MC orders his pet to get back in there and close the distance, telling it to use its tiny hitbox to dodge any attacks, and the rat just goes for it following his commands. Our boy tells it to use dash right now, hit that crack in the worm's armor, and the rat just lowers its head, horns first, and slams right into the worm's body. He's hyped that it worked, but it was barely a scratch and the monster just grabs the rat. A system notification pops up. Lightning Rat has died from internal bleeding, and he's already hovering over the resurrect option. He immediately smashes the button, telling his pet to just hold on a bit longer, and just like that, the little beast is back, striking the worm again. He kept respawning it and throwing it back into the fight, a crazy cycle of the rat dying and reviving over and over, until suddenly sparks started crackling off its body. The system pinged him, saying that thanks to the massive concentration of thunder energy in the area, his lightning rat had basically absorbed some of it, unlocking a new feature. Lightning could now be fused into its skill. The skill upgrade was a success. Dash was now officially Thunder. Dash, our boy. Ping was absolutely losing his mind, saying an elemental attack would totally shred this monster's defense. He ordered the rat to use the skill and end this, and it just shot forward like a rocket. It left a legit trail of lightning in its wake and completely bodied the enemy. Afterwards, the rat just stood there, panting hard, and the system confirmed the W quest progress, now at 2%. Our MC clenched his fist, yelling about how beautifully it smoked that worm. It looked like the rat's new thunder move had a daily cooldown though, so he figured they should let it rest before hunting for more XP. Then out of nowhere, the entire world started to violently shake. He stumbled and fell hard as the ground literally cracked open beneath him. A whole freaking squad of 100-meter-long giant sandworms popped up in front of him. These were the adults, yikes. Apparently Mom and Dad were here to avenge their little hatchling. They wasted zero time attacking one of the beasts, just tail-whipped Ping, sending both him and the rat flying, and making him spit up blood. He just stared up at these absolute units, and figured that had to be at least 5 or 6 broken ribs. The adult versions were on a whole other level. Was fighting them even an option? The difference in their power levels was just ridiculous. He glanced over at his rat, which looked just as wrecked as he felt. It hadn't even fully recovered from the last boss fight resisting. Here was pointless. There were just too many mobs. And it didn't matter how many times he respawned. He'd be lucky to even land a punch on these things. The smartest play was to just accept the L respawn and go grind somewhere else, so he just spread his arms wide, ready to die. A huge worm lunged at him, its mouth wide open, but just then a sharp squeak from behind made our MC whip his head around to the lightning rat, which was struggling to its feet before launching itself forward, slamming into the worm and actually shattering its fang. It was protecting him. He stared in total shock at the sparks in the air, yelling that it used Thunder Dash again. And it did it completely on its own. The rat landed nearby, let out a defiant squeak, and Ping knew he could feel its fighting spirit. It was time to cash in this XP. He grabbed the broken worm fang and declared that if his rat wasn't giving up, then he sure as hell wasn't either. Even with basically zero chance of winning, they decided to fight to the death, and surprise, they got completely demolished. They resurrected in a random spot, and our MC immediately sat down with a heavy sigh, thinking how sus this was. He died and got resurrected, but he still felt completely drained. The system then told him that resurrection actually puts a huge strain on your psyche. The current host's mental strength stat was just way too low. It's totally normal to feel this wiped out after spamming the revive button that many times in a row. The system said while he's grinding strength, he better not forget to train his mental stats too. Our boy just smirked a little and thought to himself, a god-tier gaming PC is useless if the power's out. Looked like it was time to work on his core build. Noticing his rat let out a nervous squeak, he immediately jumped up and scanned the area, wondering if new enemies had spawned. He realized the terrain felt way different from where they just died. Everything here was hard as a rock. It turned out they had respawned directly on the shell of some massive beetle, which of course started to move. They both immediately leaped off onto the ground. It was a freaking 10-meter-long stone cockroach, and it opened its mouth to spit acid at them. But luckily, Ping's reflexes were fast enough to dodge. After that, he told the rat to get into combat mode, and the little dude lit up, sparks flying everywhere, before it charged into the fight. And by the time morning came, they had actually managed to defeat that stone cockroach, not to mention all the other monsters nearby, and now they were just chilling on a pile of corpses taking a breather. The system popped up congratulating him on completing the quest. He only had to use his resurrection 68 times, and the lightning rat 47 times. All told, they murked 472 beasts. As a reward, the Thunder Dash skill evolved into Thunderstorm, and the lightning rat learned a perception skill called Residual. He also got a basic dragon beast identification skill, but he was shook. Thunderstorm and Residual Perception did, his rat really just learned those. 2 of the 10 legendary secret techniques see Heavenly Beast skills are sorted into 6 quality tiers based on their combat power. The higher the quality, the more OP the skill. And among all the skills that exist, some are legacies from ancient times. They're called secret skills, and the method for actually learning them has been completely lost to history. Only the most insanely gifted celestial beasts can even begin to understand them. The system then told him that the long exposure to all that thunder, that special element, was basically a cheat code, letting the lightning rat unlock its full potential and learn secret skills, which had our boy laughing his head off. Because now he finally understood the whole process. He told the rat to speedrun them back home, and like clockwork the system announced, the temporary master pet contract was officially terminated. The return sequence started up our MC's body, just pixelated and vanished, popping back home a little while later. Fast forward, the yearly Fengshan University tournament is popping off a giant hologram of some dude fills the sky, making an announcement to the whole crowd. He's hyping everyone up, saying today is the last day for the selection trials, and who's going to take the W this year? Which beast is going to be the MVP whose squad will climb to the top of the leaderboard? Maybe Yi Hao, or Zhang Shuaihan, or even Zhang Shao. And Yo, standing right there in the sea of students, is a 3rd year from Fengshan University. Her name's Suyan Ying, and she lets out this massive sigh because she originally thought the district qualifiers would be a total cakewalk. But nope, she ran into some absolute tryhards in that competition. Players who just had champion written all over their faces. She already took 2 L's in a row, and now she's got to face Zhang Xiao with only her 100-toothed tiger left on her team. A tiger that's barely patched up, mind you, so she knows it's time to go get her, Lightning Rat, even though she'll still be majorly underleveled. But hey, the tournament rules are clear. You gotta have at least 2 fighting beasts to even compete. So, I guess one way or another, they're about to witness the power of her 100-toothed tiger. So, she dips out and heads over to the pet store, walking inside and calling for the owner. But it's just crickets. Taking a look around, she thinks the shop is completely empty. Like, is he moving out? What kind of timing is this? And she calls out for him again, yelling that she's here to pick up her pet. And finally our MC pops out from a back room and greets her. She tells him she's the one who left the lightning rat here 2 weeks ago, and she's ready to take it back, asking if everything's good. Our boy is kinda shook, seeing who owns the rat, and he hits her with this super salty reply saying her rat is doing amazing. Couldn't be better, actually. Then he tells her to make sure she pays for everything. She just tilts her head, completely thrown off by his weird vibe. And she's wondering why he's acting so sus. He worried she was gonna dip without paying. She just smiles and tells him not to worry. She says, even though she's picking it up early, she'll pay the full amount, not a single coin less. But all he does is give her a quick side-eye in return. Then he just turns around and heads back into the room, leaving her scratching her head in total confusion. She's left there wondering what she possibly could have done wrong. Meanwhile, our boy is inside, waking up the rat, telling the little guy it's time to go home. The rat is super hyped about it, and as our MC leaves the room, he tells it not to forget him after he hands it over to the girl. The second the pet is back in her hands, cash hits his store's account and instantly auto-converts into energy points, triggering a brand new quest notification from the system. The quest title is super edgy. Chaos conceals the wrath of the spirit. His objective is to get his very own heavenly beast, and the system gave him a 7-day time limit to complete this quest for a reward. That reward is 1 random War Beast Master skill book, but failure comes with a penalty. His points will get nerfed, and if he doesn't have enough points, the master gets deleted, totally wiped, but he can buy an awakening potion from the system store, which would let him become a War Beast Master himself. And hearing that gets him all kinds of fired up. So he immediately jumps into the system store and sees a bunch of different items, and the system explains that this whole interface is all happening inside the master's head. So if he ever wants to go shopping in the future, all he has to do is think it. And of course he tries to grab the awakening potion right away. But he gets a big fat error message, not enough energy. Turns out money converts to energy at a 100-to-1 ratio, and his current balance is a pathetic 1 single energy point. He's thinking, wait, that can't be right, that's it. And then it hits him. That girl only paid him 108 yuan. For that premium service, he is absolutely fuming, screaming that because of his hard work. Her pet learned a ton of secret skills, and she only paid him 108 yuan. What a scam. Anyway, time passes and the tournament is starting. The announcer is losing his mind, saying, "It's just incredible. Zhang Xiao's demonic dragon dog just wrecked Su Yanen's tiger." And it was with its first attack too, which is just what you'd expect from Zhang Xiao. A guy nicknamed the Chosen Terminator, he's totally OP and always in top form. Zhang Xiao, also a third-year uni student, looks down at his opponent all smug and asks with a grin if they're gonna keep going. Meanwhile, Vice Principal Dong and the bigwigs are watching from the VIP seats, and he says that Su Yan Yang was actually a really strong competitor once upon a time. But her RNG is just cursed. She got matched against these absolute monsters 2 years in a row, and her main heavenly beast got seriously cooked. And from the commentary booth, Huoji is basically saying, our girl has zero chance of winning, like she's trying to fight the final boss with a level 1 wooden sword. He says, when you're this cooked, you either rage quit or go full. Leroy Jenkins and Frank, his buddy, calls the whole situation sus. Frank's like, nah, she knows the score. This match is a huge deal. It's basically the qualifier for her getting into the main tournament. Their other friend jumps in, adding that even with terrible Renji, she's obviously gonna fight with everything she's got. You don't just give up the ghost, you gotta try, and the announcer is hyped, grabbing his popcorn to watch how Su Yaning plays this impossible hand. Meanwhile, our girl is in a total mental battle, wondering if she should just tap out or go down in a blaze of glory. Her tiger got absolutely melted last time. Even after a trip to the Pokemon Center, it was still rocking a nasty debuff, and just then, as if he's reading her mind, the announcer points out her beast is already injured. Her odds just dropped from slim to none, and she's clenching her teeth thinking this is it. This is the embarrassing end to her 3-year college grind, but her opponent just lets out a little chuckle, telling his demonic dragon dog to give her a clean death, which is just toxic gamer talk, and the host is absolutely living for the drama. Zhang Xiao is officially on the offensive. His plan is to speedrun the match before her tiger can even respawn, and a massive fireball is now hurtling straight for our girl. She's completely terrified and yells that she gives up right as a massive explosion rocks the arena, making some guy in the crowd scream. He's all like, yo, that almost turned me into barbecue, but the dude next to him just laughs, telling him to chill out. The high-level judges have this whole thing on lockdown. It's all under control. I mean, which student has enough DPS to actually shatter the arena's star shield? And when our girl finally peeks, her eyes open. That's exactly what she sees, a shield standing tall. The announcer confirms it, the ref jumped in the second. Su Yan Ying forfeited, so congrats are in order for Zhang Xiao for winning the first round, but the dude just clicks his tongue, looking mad, salty. He was probably thinking he almost got the finishing blow. Then he tells her not to rely on luck next time, but she completely ignores his BM, turning to her second beast. She's wondering what her next move is. Her only backup is a lightning rat, and my dude is literally eating from a trash pile. She got this little guy from a pet store. What if his last owner ruined him? I mean, can you really send a rat that's in this state into battle? She grinds her teeth, thinking there's no way her main, a freaking tiger, got one shot. How could she send this tiny rat into that meat grinder? Just then, the announcer reminds everyone that according to the rules, Su Yan Ying's only remaining option is the lightning rat, and she's torn, wondering if she should even send it out, despite having a secret enhancement skill. Her third stage power boost would only level up the rat's combat power from tier 1 to tier 2, which is basically nothing. The host is spelling it out for the cheap seats. A tier 1 lightning rat has no chance against a tier 3 demonic dragon dog. It's a total mismatch. The crowd is actually laughing, telling her to not be a wuss and just turn her bicycle into a super bike or something. What a bunch of trolls. Zhang's dog is literally snacking mid-match, and now the audience is chanting for her to just surrender already. This actually gets the little rat mad, but our girl knows the power gap is a massive canyon. She can't let her pet get farmed for free. XP. It looks like she's about to call it. Her hand is going up to forfeit when the rat itself just charges out with a tiny enraged squeak. This totally blindsides the announcer. He's like, whoa, it seems Su Yan Ying is ready for round 2. After all, the countdown starts instantly, no delay, and Yan Ying is just staring at her. Pet completely shook while it just squeaks back at her. Like it's trying to give her a pep talk, but across the arena, Zhang Xiao is grinning, saying he's glad the little furball decided to come out and play. Says it would have been way too boring otherwise. And the moment the timer hits 0, he orders his beast to burn that little piece of trash. His dog unleashes a whole volley of fireballs, but the rat hold up the rat is suddenly crackling, sparking with raw electricity. Up in the booth, Hoji leans forward suddenly, looking very interested. He's like, no way could that actually be IT at the same time. Yan Ying tells her, Lightning Rat to use its lightning speed skill. It's an order to dodge, so the rat has to cancel its power up, because its master has no clue, it has new skills. She's just giving it tutorial level commands. The rat has to obey, so it starts zipping between fireballs, squealing in fear, but one of them still manages to clip the poor thing. Huo immediately dismisses his own theory, thinking he's just overthinking things, while the announcer starts his commentary. And he calls it the lightning rat has been knocked down by the demonic dragon dog's firepower. They say retreating is cringe but effective. Well, this rat is going to need to be a world-class speedrunner to escape, because Zhang Xiao is thirsty for a beatdown. He literally orders his dog to torture the rat, and the announcer points out the demonic dog is now moving in for close-quarters combat. It seems Zhang Xiao isn't trying to end this quickly. He wants to slowly and painfully teach this little rat a lesson it will never forget. But right before the dog's jaws snap shut, Yan Ying slams the button on her third stage power enhancement, and just like that, the rat was gone, leaving Dong totally floored by how fast that little guy was, while Frank just cracks up. He's all like, okay, now things are spicing up. And right on cue, the announcer confirms the lightning rat just pulled off a slick evasion. His trainer gives the go-ahead, and finally the rat can go full throttle, instantly making the air around it hum with raw power. And Hoji's eyes go wide again because what he's seeing is insane. That tiny creature unleashes an absolute cannon of a lightning arrow at its foe. Dude, that was Thunderclap. A 7th stage thunder ability, a move so ridiculously OP it blasted straight through the arena's protective barrier. The entire stadium is just stunned into silence. And even the vice principal is screaming in total disbelief. Did we just see that a 1st stage lightning rat is somehow using a 7th stage move? The man just says with a smug little smile. He's basically saying the new generation is cracked because after getting hit with a tactical nuke like that, the dog was obviously toast. John Xiao is just standing there with a super awkward grin completely, and even the announcer is dead silent. The entire audience is just frozen. No one can process what just went down. Then the announcer finally finds his voice screaming that, yup, that was Thunderclap. Our boy's Lightning Rat somehow mastered a 7th stage ability. This is literally insane. The winner is decided and the spotlight swings over to Yan Ying, who's just kind of plopped on the floor looking absolutely shook. The crowd immediately erupts, hyping up her amazing skills, but she's just staring at her little companion, trying to figure out when he got so ridiculously strong, because just a couple days back, he definitely wasn't on this level. Then a light bulb goes off. Could it be thanks to that super sus pet shop she picks up the little guy, her mind just racing? Was the shopkeeper actually some hidden legendary trainer? He totally didn't give off those vibes. But meanwhile, Ping lets out a huge sneeze and tells the beast he's feeding to chill out, then rubs his nose, wondering who the heck is talking about him. Meanwhile, the announcer is back on the mic, yelling that this fight is one for the university's history books, and he's telling everyone not to leave, because there's still one more round to go. We've got a normal 1st level pet here, people, who's somehow packing a 7th level skill. This is a first for the school. Heck, a first for the entire city of Longjiang. This is unprecedented. Meanwhile, Zhang Xiao is having a total meltdown. He's kicking himself, thinking he should have realized no one would bring a weakling to such a high-stakes competition as the announcer calls the current match a draw. Both sides are gearing up for the tiebreaker, a real fight to the finish, and Zhang Xiao is already planning his comeback. He's laser-focused on crushing the lightning rat, recalling his demon dog, and even admitting to the girl that she's pretty darn good. Then he throws his hand out, yelling that it's not over yet, as a freaking stone rhinoceros stomps out of the portal behind him. And that's their new opponent. The guy smirks, saying Thunderclap is useless now, and the girl gets super tense because that's a ground-type heavenly beast. She's never seen him use this before. It was his hidden ace, and the announcer yells that he's just summoned a 4th stage monster. A stone rhinoceros, this thing is an absolute unit, and apparently its stats are off the charts. This next fight is looking seriously grim for our lightning rat, but the little dude just steps forward, totally unfazed. The host declares that our boy is clearly ready to brawl, showing zero fear of his opponent as the round officially begins. And Frank comments that from the looks of Zhang Xiao's setup, it's super obvious he's about to go all out, but he still thinks there's no way the little guy can handle it, calling this round a boring wash. But Wuji tells him not to count his chickens yet. This heavenly beast has already broken past its own level. If it was really just a 1st stage creature, it wouldn't even be standing. Not after using a 7th stage skill, and seeing that intense battle aura, she's willing to bet money that it hasn't even shown its true power yet. just as the countdown ends and the host signals the start. The fight begins, and Zhang Xiao immediately buffs his beast with a second stage strength and momentum enhancement. Plus, a third stage armor enhancement. The announcer immediately calls out the crazy combo of skills on the heavenly beast. He's stacking multiple buffs on the stone rhinoceros right from the get-go. Its combat power has now spiked to at least the 5th stage. Yan Yan is feeling the pressure big time and wants to buff her own pet. But our boy just speedruns straight into the fight, making her panic because he's way out of range for her to use any support skills. The announcer spots this and questions if Su Yanyin just made a critical error. The lightning rat is actually going head-to-head with the stone rhinoceros without any support buffs, and Zhang Xiao is grinning from ear to ear, already tasting victory. And just like that, the opponent ordered his stone rhinoceros to turn the rat into a fuzzy little speed bump. A colossal foot descended, casting a huge shadow over the tiny creature. But just as it was about to get squashed, it zipped right out from under the enemy's stomp, splitting in two. Frank was totally shook by this. It was a residual split, another 7th stage skill, while Huoji just laughed, thinking this was getting good. She was already scouting this girl for her squad, and the announcer pointed out the lightning rat just ignored the rhino entirely. It was making a beeline straight for Zhang Xiao's location. Was it really gonna try a boss rush? This move completely caught the opponent off guard. The lightning rat went for the jugular, exploiting the dude's shock, and pounced right at him, making the guy stumble back in pure terror. He quickly threw up a measly 3rd stage shield to protect himself, but then the rat unleashed thunderclap, shattering his defense like glass, and a massive boom echoed through the arena. The host was losing his mind. Both the real rat and its clone hit him with a synchronized thunderclap, and that star shield got absolutely deleted in an instant. Did he even survive that a giant crater was left on the ground where the impact hit? And a split second before he was totally cooked? The judge's divine phoenix swooped in and yoinked Zhang Xiao into the air. The guy nearly fainted from the sheer panic. After that close call, the phoenix gently set him back down, and the judge called it Zhang Xiao was out in the 3rd round. The announcer wasted no time declaring the girl the winner, congratulating her for clearing the selection trials, and the whole crowd just erupted, chanting her name and calling her the Rat Queen. She was absolutely soaking up all this fame. She was so hyped that she actually won. Wondering if this was all just a crazy dream, first thunderclap. And now it even learned residual clone. She knew the pet store owner had to be behind this. That dude is secretly OP. He looks so unassuming. But who would have guessed he's an absolute god-tier master that night? Our MC was back in his room getting ready for bed. He was crunching the numbers on how to make over 10,000 yuan in a week, knowing he couldn't just rely on the shop's current hustle. The system flashed a status screen, showing his pet shop had only 3 services on offer right now. There was sheltering pet rentals and selling feed. But since he hadn't bought any dedicated animal spaces, 2 freebie slots were just sitting there, useless. The system gives him a free space that costs 10 yuan an hour to use. And then there's the Celestial Beast rental service, which is a whole complicated system, based on a pet's rank, combat stats, and overall potential. But our boy isn't breeding any pets at the moment, so that service was totally locked, leaving just the feed option. To make that work, he'd have to go out and personally farm the ingredients, and the price would depend on how gourmet the food is. He realized he was just too broke. He didn't have the cash for the first option. He wasn't qualified for the second, so it looked like option 3 was his only play. So he asked the system, could he just gather ingredients anywhere, or did it have to be in special farming zones? You know, places like the Cloud Thunder Realm. The system confirmed that harvesting was good to go in any cultivation zone. Apparently, the Cloud Thunder Realm was just one of countless high-level zones, and it was pretty simple. The higher the zone's rank, the better your RNG for dropping top-tier ingredients. Reading that last part made him feel so dumb. He just spent 3 whole days grinding with that lightning rat in a high-rank zone. And he totally missed the chance to farm some primo materials, man. He couldn't keep fumbling the bag like this within 3 days. He was determined to officially become a war beast master, so he went back to the pet shop and had the system pull up the list of cultivation zones. Getting into an elite zone required a whopping 1,000 points, a high-ranking one was 100 churs. A mid-tier one was 10, and the lowest tier was just 1 point. Since he was basically broke with a single point, he could only afford the noob zones. He was so tilted thinking if he'd just known about this earlier, he wouldn't be in this mess. But the system just reminded him that as a pro pet shop owner, he should always be on the lookout to collect any and all items related to celestial beasts. Then a suitable zone was auto-selected for him. Extraterrestrial Meteorite 1002, Did he want to enter? You bet he did. He immediately mashed accept, thinking there was no way he'd miss a chance to get some XP for his pet. And just like that, he was teleported to another dimension. He popped into existence on a grassy field next to a lake, where these huge, long-necked beasts were just chilling, and the system notified him he'd been given a temporary, beginner-level item. A scroll for identifying ancient plants and herbs, but each scroll only had 3 charges. He had to really think to activate it. The quest timer was set to 1 day, and he had 30 free respawns, so it was game on. He reached for the scrolls the system so graciously gave him, thinking all he had to do was focus on it, and boom, he successfully equipped and activated the items. Right after, a system window popped up next to every plant, giving him all the juicy details, so he started heading deeper into the forest. Our boy figured that any plants out in the open, with 0 mobs guarding them, had to be cheap, low-tier garbage. When suddenly a ground-type stone beast just materializes, the system UI flashes its stats, but our MC's eyes lock onto the flower it's munching on. Holy crap, that's an S-tier stone rose. Apparently, long-term use gives a permanent damage buff to fire-type skills, making it basically 5-star Michelin cuisine for fire attribute pets. He immediately speedruns it out of the forest, heading right for the flower, knowing full well that the best loot is always in the most dangerous spots. Plus, his inventory space is tiny, so he has to prioritize the high-value items. He yoinks it right out of the dirt, just before the beast can eat more, and shoves it in his storage, but karma is swift and brutal. The beast totally one-shots him, which kicks off his new genius strategy for farming rare plants. He just keeps respawning, grabbing loot, and dying. And after his free lives finally run out, he gets teleported back to the pet store. My dude just collapses onto the floor, trying to catch his breath. Man, dying and resurrecting 30 times in 1 day is seriously draining. But hey, no pain, no gain, right? He peeks at his now stuffed inventory and decides it's time to sort out all his new loot. A little time passes. Meanwhile, at some house, a pet chicken is super sick, like it's on its last legs and won't eat anything, and an old man is freaking out over it. He's complaining that it hasn't eaten a single thing in a week when his grandson, who's part of the elite Black Wolf team, shows up. This kid Fan Eugene pops open a briefcase, flexing what he calls the most expensive celestial bird food in the entire Shanchang region, guaranteeing that if they give it to Xiaohui, its appetite will come roaring back. Just the aroma alone is enough to bait the bird out of its hiding spot, and the grandpa is totally hyped. He tells his granddaughter Xiao Yu to hurry and let the pet try it, so she pulls a nasty-looking centipede from the container and tries to feed it to Xiaohui, but the bird just hacks it right back up, along with some gross black blood. Yu Jing is totally shook, and the girl says Xiao Hui won't eat anything. Not even the rarest, most top-tier dark centipedes, he tells her. They need to hit up the Celestial Beast Clinic ASAP. Based on the symptoms, he thinks it's a parasitic heart infection, a seriously nasty debuff, and they gotta move fast. The old man immediately grabs the chicken, ready to bolt to the doctor's office. But just then, his wife walks in and tells everyone to chill, saying their little Xiao Huo is perfectly safe. She's holding some fruit, and the granddaughter is like, "Hold on, Xiao Huo is seriously sick. We're heading to the clinic right now." The grandma is all confused, asking what the big deal is, and in that moment, the chicken just snatches the fruit right out of her hands. And the second it swallows, it's like an instant heal. The pet looks way better, and the old man is just relieved. It's finally eating his wife, just smiles and says that shop owner wasn't lying. This kind of scarlet bird has the purest attribute, feeding them random junk messes with their system, causing a loss of appetite and even heart damage. The pet will get back to full health by regularly eating these stone rose fruits, so the girl glares at the jar of centipedes and then at her cousin, asking Eugene if they've been feeding their pet the wrong stuff this whole time. But he gets all offended and tells his grandma not to buy into the BS from some sketchy fly-by-night trader, saying this is the first he's ever heard of pet food being split into different types. He then asks how much she paid, all while she keeps feeding Xiao Huo. She says one fruit is 130 yuan, which leaves him totally floored. That means she spent over 1,000 yuan total. The girl points out they're not even in a big city. So how can pet food be that pricey? Maybe this trader is running an illegal operation. She's heard that some of those illegal traders mix sketchy chemicals into their products. It gets pets so addicted they won't touch normal food. And if you take it away from them, they go through intense withdrawals. And if the pet keeps eating that chemical junk, it'll eventually die. Now, the old man is scared all over again for Xiao Huo. He's watching it happily, chow down on the fruits, when Yu Jing grabs his grandmother by the shoulders, demanding to know where this pet store is and what it's called, saying he's going to find this merchant. she nervously tells him, that she got it from the mischievous pet store. So he and his sister immediately roll up to the place to start some drama, shouting for the owner. They rudely announce they need to talk, then slam their hands on the counter, demanding to know what he put in the celestial beast food. Our boy Ping just looks at him totally confused, thinking he's only sold one kind of food so far. Are they talking about the rock rose fruits? Is it possible their pet is having some kind of cultivation issue? He starts to reply that their food for celestial beasts is all natural. The guy straight up asks if the scarlet bird got hit with any debuffs after eating, wanting to know if this stuff is 100% natural, with zero weird additives. Okay, so the food is clean, but his pet was still eating its old chow, and this dude's acting like that's some kind of epic win. He tells our boy to just spit it out, while a whole audience of randos starts forming outside the pet store ready for the drama. The gossip starts flying. Apparently this shop used to be a total mess with animal droppings everywhere, and now it's selling some super expensive grub. The wildest part is nobody's even heard of this food brand, which is typical for sketchy pet shops. Someone even brings up an online expose. Word is they cut their celestial beast food with some low-quality nutritional filler, which starts to tick our MC off, and the girl tells her brother to just drop this whole pointless crusade already. She says he should just call his buddies from the Pet Food Association to come inspect this shady dealer, which makes Ping finally snap. He's like, are they really accusing him of selling garbage food? And he shoots up so fast, the girl actually stumbles back in shock. This is a totally baseless accusation, he shouts, asking them where their evidence is. Eugene immediately goes into Big Brother mode to protect his sister, even though our boy didn't lay a finger on her, grabbing him by the collar. He asks our MC if he's got a death wish, and boom, the system's immunity passive activates, instantly snapping the dude's fingers. A raw scream just rips out of him as he wonders how our boy is so strong. Then a system notification pops up with a limited time quest. His shop has been unfairly slandered, and the mission is to prove his innocence and show how awesome his food is. The alternative is taking some serious losses, but if he pulls it off, the reward is insane. He'll get 1 ticket to any cultivation zone with unlimited respawns and a max stay of 5 days, a speedrunner's dream. But if he fails, it's a minus 10-point penalty, and the crowd starts whispering that the shop owner just straight up attacked the guy. Without even a single word of warning, our boy realizes if he doesn't clear this up right now, he's not just going to lose points. He's going to lose his entire customer base. So with a heavy sigh, he tells everyone to chill, guaranteeing his pet food is perfectly safe. And since they're all so skeptical about his product quality, he's going to give them a live demonstration, but the crowd isn't having it. They just start chanting for him to shut the store down. So he roars for them to be quiet, and it works total silence. He then pulls out a blue yun fruit and asks if anyone has a water-type beast. Xiao Yu, completely confused, says yeah, she's got one. Then she summons Ono, a water beast that's honestly pretty mid, only first stage strength, with low affinity and not many skills. Her brother instantly shields the little guy, demanding to know what our MC is planning, and our boy says he's just gonna feed Ono a blue-level fruit. That'll prove once and for all that his food is totally harmless, and the beast just gobbles it down no problem. The crowd starts murmuring again. Has anyone ever seen a fruit like this? It looks kinda like something from a specialty store. But that stuff is for like pet constipation. They all laugh, not expecting much to happen. But then the beast suddenly balloons in size before erupting in a brilliant glow so bright, Yujing throws up a shield to protect his sister. She's totally shook, asking, what is this? Why is it glowing like a legendary item drop? And when the light fades, she sees her beast's rank. It leveled up to the 2nd stage, and its strength jumped to the middle of the 1st stage. Our MC just smirks, totally satisfied. He's thinking how these blue Yuan fruits are basically XP boosters for low-level beasts, getting them to stage 2 instantly. It's obvious the pet food from this cultivation zone is on another level compared to the counterfeit junk out there. Still, this water beast only went up a single stage. Its power only increased by half a tier, and its abilities are a bit worrying because as a heavenly beast's rank goes up, its strength should spike way more than that. See, the less combat power you get from a level up, the worse the beast's skills are, and vice versa. It's all about the bloodline of the heavenly beasts. That's also split into different ranks. A bloodline rank dictates how much a beast can naturally buff its own base stats, just by getting older and ranking up. Like a water beast with a 3rd stage bloodline can hit the 3rd stage just by existing, no special training needed. But without actual training, its raw power won't really climb, and the crowd is just stunned that the beast got so much stronger. Eugene is completely floored though, just staring at the beast's new form. There's zero doubt in his mind it was a successful evolution. He'd only ever heard about treasures like this being used by the Federation's top-tier celestial beasts. If that's true, then who the hell is this pet shop owner? His identity has to be terrifying, and the girl rushes over to check on her pet and asked if this was for real, like maybe he'd pulled a fast one on them, but her brother immediately made her bow down to our MC and started apologizing big time, saying they totally messed up, that they were blind and were begging him to let it slide. Our boy Ping just shot them a look of pure disgust, then gestured over to the blue fruits and was like, "That'll be 8,700 yuan each. I'm not ripping anyone off, just an honest merchant here." Yujing put on a super nervous smile, promising his sister would pay right away. But inside he was thinking that for a price like this, getting a power-up for this weakling pet was a total steal, basically pocket change. Meanwhile, our MC was thinking the price was still way too low. This god-tier pet food he was selling was criminally cheap. He even hit up the system, asking if there was any way to buff the prices. This insane feed was a bargain, but the system shot him down, saying the prices were locked. So he just sighed and turned to the guy, explaining that his sister's beast had stats that were just well cooked. He gave them a pro tip: use the colored Buddha's heart leaves, and also for a full heal, that scarlet bird needs to be chowing down on stone rose fruits. For a good long while hearing this, Yujing just patted his sister's head and said, "Of course, Xiao would cover the entire bill. Don't even worry." Then someone in the crowd piped up like, "Wait, is that stuff really that good, but that cheap? Is this some kind of scam?" And another guy chimed in, "Maybe I should grab some too. You can literally see the buff, and for that price, it's a no-brainer." So, yeah, of course he was going to buy some. And then the whole crowd just swarmed our boy Ping, who just smiled and told them to form a single file line. After the sale wrapped, his account was hit with about 31,500 yuan, which got converted into 315 energy points. Plus, for finishing a limited time quest, he scored a 5-day pass to any cultivation zone he wanted. He was hyped. The grind finally paid off, and now he could afford an awakening potion. So he immediately pulled up the system shop, smashed that buy button on the potion, popped the top with major anticipation, and then he downed the whole thing. He felt something hit him instantly, a vision of this brilliant light just washing over his body, pumping him full of raw power. When the cutscene ended, he looked up with a stone-cold expression and said that he had finally become a battle beast master. A buzzing sound behind him made him whip around, and he snatched a fly right out of the air by its wings. He was genuinely shook. His reaction speed stat had clearly jumped. Then the system notified him he had 215 points left, asking if he wanted to upgrade the Chaos Spirit Pool, which is basically his gacha machine. Using the pool costs 10 energy points for one pull, and there's a super high chance the summon will just straight up fail. The probability of even a low-rank celestial beast showing up is tiny, and getting a mid-rank beast is basically impossible. Upgrading the pool to level 2 costs 100 points, and after that, every single pull costs 100 energy. But a level 2 pool gives a medium chance of successfully summoning a low-rank celestial beast, a low chance for a mid-rank one, and an extremely low chance for a high-rank beast. He thought his RNG was good enough to get a mid-rank without upgrading, but this was just too tempting. After upgrading, a legit high-rank pet could show up, so he had to try. He immediately dropped the points and upgraded the Chaos Spirit Pool to level 2, leaving him with 115 points. He hyped himself up. It was now or never. What was it going to be? He used the spirit pool, and a blinding beam of light slammed down, flooding the entire room with thick smoke. Our MC was squinting, trying to make out the dark shape forming in the middle of this smoke cloud, and wondering what kind of OP pet he was going to get, but it turned out to be just a tiny skeleton with first stage rank and power. It's a demonic type, with trash tier stats, and only one skill reattaching its limbs. This thing is the lowest of the low. This is the kind of pet you would only get if you had absolutely no other choice. Ping was so let down he just yelled out, "And this cost me 100 energy points?" The skeleton just let out a happy little laugh and said that wasn't exactly a 5-star review. Just then the system pinged "Quest successfully completed." He got one random War Beast Master skill book as a reward, and the skill he got was Assassination. Basically, by spending some of his mental power, his pet can trigger a murderous heart state, which is just rage mode. The pet will keep launching deadly attacks, even if it's seriously messed up. Our boy just rubbed his chin a bit, confused, and started thinking the high-rank cultivation zones are packed with OP monsters. So, no matter how much he grinded the skeleton's base stats, it would get one-shotted in seconds. But with this assassination skill, He could cash in big time with a tiny investment. So, this wasn't a loss after all, just as he thought that the system said it had detected something. And just like that, the system decides our boy has met the prerequisites to kick off a brand new main quest, time to upgrade his pets. The mission is to buff their stats to mid and high tier, and the reward for this grind is an insane Chaos Star universe map. He's on a 7-day timer to get this done, and if he fails, he loses 10 points, which has him totally mauling. Like, what kind of ridiculous difficulty spike is this? Even his lightning rat has stats that are completely mid, and the little skeleton is basically a level 1 mob, just a total weakling. The gap is insane. It feels like trying to craft a legendary item out of vendor trash. He reaches for the skeleton, and the little guy just bonks him with its fist. But he notices the skeleton is surprisingly cheerful about it. Suddenly he hears voices from the shop. Gotta be customers. So our MC speedruns locking the skeleton back in its cage, and who walks in? But Yan Yan with her friend Lyle calling his name. The friend is looking around like she's never seen a place so out in the sticks as our MC steps out to greet them. And seeing her, his mood instantly drops. He just deadpans. 108 Wuan, noting that she's back again and asking what she wants this time. She storms right up to him, super ticked off, telling him not to call her that. She gives him her actual name and brings up what happened yesterday. She's like, my lightning rat is acting completely different. It's like a whole new character. What did you do to it? He just looks away, thinking these customers are never happy. He plays it cool, saying he did nothing special, just some regular walks and games. Then he smiles, turns to the rat and asks it, is that really all that happened? The poor thing squeaks in pure terror, and as Ping pats its head, Yan Yan is just stood there, shook. She's thinking he called that a walk. That was some hardcore cultivation training. This rat wasn't even scared of a stage 4 dragon dog, but it's terrified of him. He then suggests her pet should come back for another walk sometime, and in her eyes he looks less like a shopkeeper and more like a raid boss. Is his power level really just stage 5? No way. The pressure he's giving off feels stronger than stage 6. Her friend leans in and whispers, this guy looks like a total NPC, and the shop is so basic, are you sure you didn't get it wrong? She immediately shushes her, telling her to keep it down, saying she can't explain it right now. She's convinced this guy is secretly a stage 7 master, and if they annoy him, they are absolutely cooked. Her friend just looks back totally bewildered. Meanwhile, our MC is thinking that since the system hasn't given him any new limited time side quests, this visit can't be about the pets, so he asks why they came, wondering if they're also here to complain about his prices, which makes Yan Yan flinch in fear, and her mind is just racing, thinking back to that measly 108 yuan. Her pet got an OP buff for practically nothing. This dude has to be testing her honesty, so she decides to offer him a little thank you tip. She tries sending him 1,000 yuan, but the transfer fails. He rejected it. She just stares at him in shock. Seeing his irritated face, she immediately panics, thinking was that not enough, and bumps the offer up to 5,000. He scowls and rejects it again. She's losing her mind. Isn't that enough? And Lele is just like, what are you even doing? Just pay the man already, Lele says. But Yan Yan, with tears in her eyes, admits she's broke and needs help. Her friend just lets out this massive sigh and says, fine. It's not like we have a choice after that. Yan Yan looks at Ping with total resolve, ready to pay the proper price for his service. This is a rare chance to get on the good side of a true master, so she transfers him 10,000 yuan, and he rejects it again. Now she's really sweating, wondering why he looks more and more pissed off. She can't believe it, but she's not giving up. She goes all in and sends him 100,000 yuan. Our boy immediately mashes the accept button, but the system hits him with a price change denied notification. Apparently, he's hard-coded to not accept any extra money for his services, talk about a major nerf. So, he's forced to reject the payment. And Yan Yan, now full-on crying, asks if even that much isn't enough for him. She's completely lost, thinking she just doesn't understand the value of his work, and begs him to just name his price. He awkwardly clears his throat and is like, look, I don't want your money. Just tell me why you actually came here. He figures he'll just have to deal with these dumb system rules if he wants to get stronger. And she just covers her mouth, completely stunned. Is this guy for real, refusing a fortune? She can't believe that young OP masters who are indifferent to fame and money actually exist. And one is standing right in front of her. Pulling herself together, she points at her pet and says, they have a tournament in a few days, but her other celestial beasts are all on the injured list. The lightning rat is her last hope, so she needs him to power level it in 3 days. Our MC is secretly hyped about this. The lightning rat is back, which means grinding XP for the little skeleton is about to get way easier. The system immediately detects that a customer is requesting a pet cultivation service. And just like that, the entry-level Celestial Beast cultivation option unlocks, letting him accept the job at the fixed service price. So get this for buffing up any beast below the 3rd stage. He'd pocket a cool 10,000 yuan. Our boy was absolutely shook by how much cash he could rake in, but he had to break it to her, right now. He was only taking on the low-tier starter quests, the Understage 3 orders. She just needed him to give her Celestial Beast an XP boost, right? And that 3-day power leveling service would cost 10,000 yuan. She's thinking, okay, that's not exactly pocket change, but if the stat gains are anything like last time, it's not just worth it, it's a total steal, so she immediately agrees to the whole thing. In her mind, this is hands down the most legit pet shop ever, and she's kicking herself for not finding it sooner. Missing out on a grinding spot this good would have been a massive L. Anyway, she sends the payment, which instantly converts into 100 system points for our MC. That brings his total up to 115 energy points. So he tries to upsell her, asking if she needs any other services besides the main quest. Turns out the shop also does pet maintenance and even medical treatment. She was shocked he could do that too, because a normal vet clinic would charge an arm and a leg for the same thing. So of course she's down, and he tells her to summon the pet she wants to board. And poof, out come 3 pretty banged up looking creatures. Our boy sees how huge they are and gets a little nervous. Then the system pings him with a new customer request for temporary pet housing. And it warns him that to keep the shop's 5-star rating from getting cooked, he better upgrade the pet pens like yesterday, but he's confused. He's like, how is that going to tank my reputation? The system explains that the freebie starter cages are basically made of spiritual trash. They've got barely any energy in them. Plus they're leaking all this chaotic, unstable energy, which is kind of okay for the low-level pets, I guess. But it comes with a huge risk of causing a random gnarly mutation in the pet. Our boy silently curses. He knew there was a catch. He figures he has no choice but to level up and just buy 3 new cages, and a second later the system confirms the purchase. 50 energy points just vanished from his account. But now he's got 5 out of 9 pens unlocked, which he can rent out for 100 yuan an hour. These are the shiny new level 2 taming sections. 100% safe for celestial beasts. No weird RNG mutation. But here's the fine print. Each pen costs 1 energy point per day just for upkeep. And if his balance hits 0, the cages will just straight up uninstall themselves. The thought of this predatory monetization makes him so sick he literally starts coughing blood. The girl freaks out asking what's wrong, but he just plays it cool, saying he's fine, and tells her the total for 3 beasts over 3 days is 21,600 yuan. He tells her to double-check the bill before she leaves. She wires the money instantly. But Lily is definitely thinking this dude is acting super sus. After all that drama, he finally gets the beasts settled into their new premium pens, and his account balance skyrockets to 291 energy points, just in time for the system to drop a new side quest, complete his first pet cultivation order. The quest objectives are intense. The service has to be top-tier quality, and he needs to more than double the client's celestial beast's initial combat power, but the rewards are sweet. 3 entry-level, great panaceas, basically epic potions. He's got a 3-day time limit to pull it off. So, does he accept you? Bet he does. His mind is already racing on how to power level. This little skeleton's stats from mid to OP right now. It's only a stage 1. So, what's the game plan here? Training. This thing compared to the lightning rat is like night and day. But our boy's no quitter. He accepts both challenges. And with that, he pulls up the menu for all the available cultivation zones. Since the system gave him a free pass to enter any zone he wants, he's obviously going to speedrun to the endgame, content. He scrolls through the elite options and decides the perfect XP farm to level up the little skeleton is a place ominously called the Chaos Realm. He selects the dimension, and suddenly these creepy tentacles just burst out of the ground, grabbing him and all the pets. They get yanked down into what looks like a sea of blood, and then they're teleported to a new world, landing right on a giant pile of bones. The stench of rot immediately hits our MC, and the lightning rat starts squeaking like crazy, sounding the alarm. A massive skeleton appears out of nowhere, crushes a smaller one like a twig, and then winds up for a big swing. Our boy is terrified, trying to give the rat an order. But it's too late. A huge blow is already coming down. The giant skeleton slashes at them with its full power, but they weren't even there. They managed to pull off a last-second dodge, and what do you know, the little skeleton is already back on its feet. Our MC cracks a smirk, guess. Not every mob in the elite zones is a raid boss after all. Standing before him is this absolute unit of a skeleton. It's a demonic type battle beast with a rank of stage 7, but the actual strength of a stage 5, talk about a paper tiger. Its stats are pretty low, but it's got skills like recombining severed limbs, cleave, and a war roar. And with that, the giant skeleton attacks again. The rat pulled a slick dodge, but our small skeleton got absolutely flattened. So Ping just slammed the respawn button on it, and then he micromanaged the rat to use Thunderclap, which literally forges a lightning sword, and ordered it to go for the big skeleton's arm. And the rat just went full throttle, a blur of fur and lightning dumping its whole mana bar into the enemy, which let out a piercing scream. That sonic blast was so strong it sent the rat flying backwards. And its insides turned to mush from the shockwave, while the skeleton just starts a self-repair sequence pulling in all the scattered bones. Its arm snapped right back into place, and that's when Ping noticed the red gem on its forehead was glowing ominously. He's thinking, did that thing just buff its skill? Because that was a crazy move. He revives his pets and they're so shook, they literally cling to his legs. They were trembling like crazy, so with a heavy sigh, our boy decides to bust out the big guns. The book in the system confirms he's popped a combat skill. The skill is Killing Intent, which immediately aggroes the giant skeleton, making it charge, so he uses his new buff on his own summons. They rush into attack, but the huge skeleton just deletes them. With one swing, a total party wipe. How are they supposed to beat this thing? They get revived instantly, and our MC clocks that they respawned in the exact same spot even after that nuke of an attack. But that OP move revealed its major flaw. Its body is so lopsided that its center of gravity is a total mess, making its balance absolute trash. It looks like a tank, but it's really a glass cannon, so Lightning Rat zips back into the fight, using residual separation to juke the incoming blow. Ping then lays out the strategy. Having it use one thunderclap to sever a leg, then a second one to blast its neck vertebrae. The little skeleton is running support, because our boy has his eyes on the prize, that gem. The two rats go in, following the plan to a T, and the small skeleton just gotta watch the show. They actually did it. They dropped the giant beast and the gem popped right out of its forehead. It landed with a plonk right on the little skeleton's head, just as the system announced that Lightning Rat got the final blow. Loot drop strength got boosted to the 3rd stage, and residual separation leveled up to multiple residual separation, channeling thunder and lightning. This lets it create 2 temporary clones. Plus, there's a small RNG chance it can pop out. 3. Our boy was stoked that his rat could basically use Shadow Clone Jutsu now. Meanwhile, the little skeleton scooped up the red stone and was just staring at it completely mesmerized, which our MC noticed and the system explained this was a unique skill. Apparently, it's a perk for demon-type celestial beasts. They can juice up their skills by absorbing the energy of a similar creature. The second the little skeleton absorbed the gem, its power spiked, and it unlocked a new skill, Elementary Sword Art. Our MC was absolutely beaming, so he gave the skeleton a proud pat on the head, but he kind of forgot his own strength and ripped its skull clean off, then tried to play it cool, like he meant to do it all along. He claimed this was so it could crush other skeletons, their grinding finally paying off. The little skeleton just nonchalantly popped its head back on, but right after that a strange sound filled the air. The Lightning Rat squeaked in terror, and Ping looked up, just in time to see a new monster spawn above the sea of blood. It was a woman with tons of wings, but half her body was just bare skeleton. It was seriously creepy. Even the system UI was drawing a blank on what this creature was, and our MC wondered if it was a high-ranking boss. Maybe she'd drop another gem. The woman just reached a hand toward him and started siphoning his soul out like a Capri Sun, and he was totally paralyzed. Next thing you know, he and all his pets were dead. So he just sighed and hit the resurrect button again. As he respawned, he was just thinking about how insane her power was. She literally one-shot them with a stare. So he calls out to her, asking if she happens to be the boss of this whole kingdom. She just looks at him, dead silent. Our boy waves his hand at her like, "Hello, you got an AI in there, or what?" Instead of talking, she just starts sucking his soul out again, and he frantically asks her to hold on so he can finish his sentence. He dies again, getting punted to a different space. And the system reminds him he has infinite respawns, but he was in no mood to rush back in, crossing his arms looking seriously annoyed. He figured he was just wasting his time here, but you gotta risk it for the biscuit. So he decides to warp to a new area, a place covered in bone spikes. He noticed right away it was eerily quiet, but after taking a few steps he realized he was standing on a cliff high above the ground. Down below was a massive army of generals, and among them, he saw that same winged woman who totally freaked out when she saw him and pointed right at him. Immediately, the ground he was on started to shake, and he fell only to be grabbed by someone's hand. It turns out, he had teleported directly onto the head of the local king, who sized him up and ordered him to explain how he got there. He gives him a 3-second countdown to answer, and the pressure coming off this guy was so intense it made our MC start to sweat. Our boy just plays it cool, telling the big boss he's only passing through. But this dude is clearly the final boss here, and you can see the gears turning. Why not just one shot? This guy, is he trying to farm some info? Meanwhile, our MC is thinking, bro, just let me respawn already. But nope, the king has him in an unbreakable grip. Our boy is completely stunned. He can't even open his skill menu. His system's basically bricked, and the quest timer is screaming at him. He's still miles away from finishing the objective, and the king is thinking, hold up, this ain't no random mob. My man snuck up on me with 0 audio cues. So he tells our boy to start talking immediately. He makes it clear there won't be a third warning, and Ping's sweating bullets, but then it clicks. This king was shook by his power from the very start. Our boy just needed to chill. He realized he had an angle. These goons have probably never even seen a human player, let alone know that the system is a thing. This was his one and only gambit, so he tells the guy he's a clone made by the most OP being in the world. He says he's just here to check their threat level, and if it's too high, they're all getting nerfed into oblivion, which of course triggers a general to draw his sword. The dude starts screaming for his soldiers to form a perimeter around the king, but the boss's eyes just flash with power, and poof, half the army gets instantly deleted, so our MC with maximum sass asks if he's good after just wiping his own guild members. He even throws shade like, maybe you're just a scrub who farms low-level mobs, and bam, the king just erases him with a beam, leaving not a single pixel behind. The king then says that protecting him is basically calling him weak, since there's literally nothing in this world that can even scratch his HP bar. And then Ping just respawns right beside him, asking, is that a fact, which leaves the king's army and his generals completely speechless. They are absolutely shook by these insane respawn mechanics. So the king uses his OP ring to get rid of Ping again, who just revives and then dies on repeat. This whole death loop goes on for a bit. And by the next time he revives, he's thinking the crazier the death, the less it stings. My dude has leveled up his pain tolerance. The king just stares at him, realizing this weird creature can just continuously glitch reality, messing with the time and space of his whole kingdom. What kind of busted, horrifying monster calls itself a human invader? Our MC focuses on the king's ring, dies again, pops back up, and right before the king can hit the kill switch, he pulls off the ultimate clutch play, yoinking the gem from the ring into his inventory, and then he just dips completely vanished. The king is so shocked, he literally jumps off his throne yelling that our boy just used 2 different high-tier laws of reality at the exact same time to teleport out of his render distance, leaving the king screaming, "Who is he?" After that, our MC revives in a random spot and asks, "Did you guys really think I'd just be your XP farm forever? Y'all are so naive." His plan was absolute genius. Then he summons his little skeleton buddy. So our boy flashes this massive chunk of bling, and the skeleton just loses its mind, grabbing its skull like it's completely shook. So Ping just smirks and hits him. "You vibing with this?" My guy's summons will never be underleveled, so he lets it just absorb the whole thing because it's time to tag in. A monster was now aggroed and heading right for them. And at that very moment, our protagonist just says, "Basic sword art," as a system window flashes to life in front of him. Successful, kill a massive stage 4. Strength boost, quest to progress is now at 46% with only 1 day remaining on the clock. A monster stomps on some poor creature, and a whole new wave of demonic mobs pulls up. Our MC is just like, that's a lot of free XP. He's putting all his faith in his little skelly bro, and in the next second the beast unleashes a wild combo as the system notification starts spamming his screen. Little Skeleton scores a kill, netting a huge stage 6 strength boost. Then the lightning rat lands a kill, also getting a stage 6 strength boost and quest progress. Is now at 94% with only 14 minutes left. Sometime later, our protagonist is just chilling on a literal mountain of bones, sighing. He's just like, man, all these mobs are such small fry, it's endless. Then suddenly a deafening scream shatters the silence. A colossal creature bursts out of the corpse pile, and our boy just flies down to greet it, saying, "Oh, this one isn't dead yet," with a huge grin. Even better, he says as he flares his killing intent. His summons are totally on the same page. He tells them they'll get a huge buff if they can take this thing down. The monster points its weapon at them, and our protagonist just yells, "Little skeleton, beginner sword art," and in a flash the skeleton swings its weapon, slicing straight through the monster's weapon like it was paper. In response, the creature lets out a world-shaking scream, slamming its arms forward and completely shattering the ground in front of it into countless pieces of rock. Then, a ton of hands erupt from the dirt, grabbing our protagonist and his pets. Our boy just shouts, "Are you kidding me?" as the system reports in again. Quest progress is still stuck at 94% time. Remaining is 7 minutes, and the system is basically screaming at him to pay attention, while he's trying to, finish the quest. Our protagonist just mutters, yeah, don't remind me," thinking, dang it, I'm crowd-controlled, before shouting out, "Lightning rat, you gotta hit its core with a thunderclap," and the next second the little mouse lets out a massive electric squeak. He then laser-focused a massive energy blast, aiming it right at the monster's glowing chest piece. But our boy yelled out, completely shook as a system window popped up, blocking his entire view of the enemy's name. Its rank type, strength, and skills were all just giant question marks, leaving our MC totally clueless about what he was even fighting. But then he smirked, because he had already figured out two huge things. First, these regenerating arms didn't give a crap about taking damage. And second, that glowing core was 100% its weak spot. Just as the system flashed a 3-minute countdown timer, our protagonist roared, "Lightning rat, you gotta use thunderclap right now. Wrap your whole body in a storm of pure electricity." The little mouse immediately started juicing up, pulling in so much energy it looked like a tiny, crackling sun. Ding, the system announced that Lightning Rat just learned a new skill. Thundercloak, and its effect is wild. You use this on an enemy, and Lightning Rat can dish out some nasty damage over time, plus a paralysis debuff for anyone who gets too close. And get this, the effect gets a massive buff against demon types. Our MC was like a new skill, just as he spotted more hands erupting from the ground. Only this time they were getting absolutely fried by continuous bolts of light. He screamed, "Yes, he's free. Little skeleton, let's go." And in the blink of an eye, the skeleton swung its weapon and charged the monster. The system chimed in, "Little skeleton has secured the kill. Strength has increased to the 7th stage." And another one, Lightning Rat, has also completed the kill. Its strength also jumping to the 7th stage, making our boy smile. He realized the skeleton must have absorbed a little bit of that Bloodstone's insane power, causing its combat stats to just skyrocket out of nowhere. That absorption skill is seriously OP, he thought. Just as a huge banner flashed, main quest successfully complete. For his loot, he got the Chaos Star Universe map, and with the side quest also done, he snagged 3 entry-level Great Panaceas. All the rewards were automatically yeeted into his inventory. So after exiting the system, he said the magic words, "Open stats." A window for Little Skeleton popped up in front of him. Species Demonic Beast rank. Upper 2nd stage, strength was an average 7th stage, but everything else was above average, with skills like Puppeteer, Undead, Enslavement, and Corpse, plus intermediate swordsmanship and severed limb recombination. The system even added a note saying this beast is the lowest of the low tier, and that only the most hopeless players are forced to use it. Our boy was like, hold up, strength at the 7th stage. With above average stats, but a rank of only the 2nd stage. Yo system, you sure this ain't bugged? The system basically replied that its professional evaluation is based on comparing Little Skeleton's data from the dawn of time, all the way to now, so the owner shouldn't doubt its flawless logic. Our MC just muttered the dawn of time, huh? Interesting. Then another window appeared for Dark Shadow, Lightning Rat species, Thunder Beast, rank, medium, tier, 3, strength, low, tier, 7 attributes. Also above average with a stacked skill list. 10 Thunderclaps, multiple residual, separation, thunderstorm, and the brand new Thundercloak. And wait, Undead Call and Undead Claw. The flavor text said, once a common pet, it's now a legit threat, which got our MC thinking. He didn't even know Thunder-type beasts could learn Necromancer skills, and he started wondering how the arena audience would lose their minds seeing his pet use undead abilities. He glanced at his creatures chilling in a special containment unit and grinned. I'd love to see that before reaching for a new cube that appeared. Pulling out a map, he asked, "System, is this the Chaos Star Universe map?" And a pop-up confirmed that it was a legendary lost, ancient cultivation method designed to massively power level its master. The map was called Chaos Star Universe, a technique that would let his own body become one with the vastness of space. To cultivate, he had to align his acupuncture points, muscles and bones, with the actual stars, which is a completely different meta. From what the normal federations and cultivation schools teach, our boy just grinned. Wow, so I can finally get on the cultivation grind too. And a moment later, he was in a full meditative pose. He started concentrating his energy, following the Chaos Star Universe method, trying to pull star power into his core. The goal was to build up its mass, and when he's ready to cast a skill, he has to spin that energy into a vortex to release the star power within him, which would then let him literally start messing with the world outside.